Jake Paul says, I'm going to enter the 2028 Olympics in boxing. I can't tell you of an idea that I like more. I cannot tell you of an idea that I would get behind more. Truly, of any story in sport, for me personally, I would love it. It's going to take 4 years. Olympics are coming to Los Angeles. Where would he stack up, by the way? Like boxing is shown to not be what we thought. But when Francis Ngannou, who had never done this sport, went 10 rounds with Tyson Fury, and a number of people, including one licensed judge, said he won. Right, when Conor McGregor, who has no amateur background in boxing, let alone professional, went a half of an hour with Floyd, we find out this isn't what we think. But what is it? What is it exactly? Could Jake Paul do this? And I'm so intrigued by it. Like, there's some sports that you had to start when you were a kid, and for the most part, people that have real success, somebody within their family got them started, or maybe a relative was their first coach and it all started in their living room. That is very common within sport. Not to mention Olympic sport. It seems like any school you went to. You could be grade school, middle school, high school, you could be college. Any school you went to. I personally never set foot in a school that didn't have a basketball court. I personally have never been to a park, and that is without exaggeration, that didn't have a basketball court. Even if it was makeshift, half court, quarter court, you have a regulated hoop up there, bring a ball, you can play. But if you have a sport like boxing, how are you going to get somebody to walk in the very first day? I mean, how are you going to get a kid that's walking by? It's not like there's an advertisement for it. They don't have any money. You didn't see it on a billboard. You didn't turn on your television to hear great things. You didn't start in junior high. All you had to do was go into the locker room and change your clothes. You didn't dream of going to college because you were getting a scholarship. And I mean, like in all fairness, think about it from that perspective. How would you even get started in boxing? And then if you decided you did want to, you were one of the rare. You did see it on TV. You did see something that made you think, I want to do that. You know where a boxing club's at? Literal question. I want you to ask yourself that. Do you know where a boxing club is at? If you wanted to start boxing today, is there a place? And no, most of you said no. The ones of you that said yes and think you just fooled the system know of a place where you could buy. You know of a martial arts gym or something, they got like a boxing class. I'm talking about a boxing gym. There's not very many of them. Would you know where to get the gloves? Would you know where to get a mouthpiece? Would you know where to get the cup? I mean, it's one of these things. No, you don't. Would you know where to get the shoes? No, you don't. Don't lie. You do not know where to go get boxing shoes. No, you don't. So now imagine that you get into that sport, and what's really interesting is if you don't get into it and somebody doesn't get you into it, and you don't get into it early, it's very rare that somebody is going to get into it late because you're now getting matched up with kids. Like, we will see this in mixed martial arts where somebody gets in it and realizes how important wrestling is. I got to add that to my game. I got to start wrestling. They're in their 20s, though. And they don't know where to go. It's exactly like the boxing example I just gave you. They don't know of a wrestling gym or of a club. Even if they get to the point where I want to do this, I'm going to make the commitment, they wouldn't know where to go. And you can't wrestle very often if you're not part of an institution. If you don't go to school, high school, college, something like this that has wrestling, has a mat room, you're generally not going to get into it. So let's say you did go and find it later in life. You're now going to have to go into a room, into a sport that you admittedly don't know, and do it against kids. And when you're on TV and you're one of the baddest dudes in the world, or at least perceived to be, it is a very hard thing to humble yourself and go into a room where 15 and 16 and 17-year-old kids are going to whip you. But there's also no way to learn it or to get better. And I ask it from this perspective, can Jake Paul go in and box? Can he just walk in? Can he, I think he started this journey when he was 24 years old. If he walked in and says, I want to be an Olympian, I'm willing to work hard, I'm an adult, if I don't succeed, if I fail to make the U.S. team, one, To make the team, I'm going to have to beat up children, which just means anybody under the age of 18. But to make the team, a majority of the participants are, in fact, under 18. So to make the team, I'm going to have to beat up children. But if I fail to make the team, I likely have lost to a child, which simply means anybody under 18. There are very few people that could humble themselves to go and do that. And if he does, I would love it. I would love that journey. It's a very different game. Where you're trying to touch somebody and you've only got a couple of parts of the body that you can score points, and you got him with a very specific part of the glove. Like, it's a different game than professional boxing where you're looking to damage. You still got the parts of the glove, you still got the parts of the body, but you're looking to damage that person as opposed to scoring points. I would love to see if he could do it. I could love to see if he would pursue it. I'm sharing with you why it is such an outside shot. Like, there has been nothing that Jake Paul has said that he hasn't done. We all thought this was a ruse from Jump Street. We all thought he was never going to get in there and box. Then when he did get in there and box, well, he's never going to box a real fighter. Then when he did box real fighters, well, he's never going to box a good real fighter. Then he gets in there with world champions. Well, he's never going to box a boxer, right? Like, it just kept changing. But Jake did everything that he said he was going to do. Now, this is a whopper. This is a massive one that no one else would do. Nobody else would take that on. It's not because we don't have other boxers that don't want to be in the Olympics or they don't hold the Olympics to a high adoration. It's not because of that. It's because of what happens if I fail. And what happens if I fail, it doesn't hurt your career. You don't get cut. Top Rank doesn't not sign you. Adidas doesn't drop your sponsor. It's none of those things. You will lose to a child, which just means anybody under 18. There's a high school kid out there that you're going to have to get up every day and train for. He's walking the halls. He's getting ready for geometry class. He's hoping he's got enough money in his pocket to buy lunch. He will literally be a minor. And you're going to have to beat him. You're going to have to think about him. You're going to have to train for him, or you're not. And it's a wildly difficult situation. You will meet people along the way that you'll respect, and they bang their chest and they say, I'll fight anybody. I don't care who it is. And you keep giving them higher ranked guys. You keep giving them bigger challenges. And sure enough, they step out there and do it. But you're misguided to believe that they're actually as advertised, that they'll actually fight anybody. There are certain mindsets where that's very easy. They prefer to be the underdog. Not to mention, what do I have to lose? Not to mention, I have everything to gain. They like that struggle. There's certain mindsets. It's admirable and it's rare, and they do go into a quality of tough guy. I admit that. But what I'm sharing for you, what you don't know about them, is they can't go the other way. They can be ranked number 8, and they will step in there with number 2 on a moment's notice. But when they get to number 2, they won't step in there with number 8. It's wildly different. It's wildly rare that you meet somebody that actually will take on anybody, anytime. And this is hard to believe. There is no other boxer that has attempted this. There's no other adult. I've been curious, what would happen if Conor would have done it? Could he made the team in Ireland? He went 30 minutes with Floyd. Can he go 3 rounds with the kids in Ireland to make the team? If he made the team, could he medal? How shiny? Could he get the gold? I'm just curious of this. Francis says he loves to box, and he's under contract with the UFC. He could go amateur box all he wanted. We've only had one guy ever do this, and it was Little Nog, and he won the national championship of Brazil. That was fun. I was curious. This is a whopper, though, that Jake is setting down. Of all the claims that he's ever made, this might be the hardest. In many ways, it's easier to fight Mike Tyson in front of the whole world. In many ways, it is easier to do that than fight an unknown high school sophomore. And Jake says he's going to do it. He has never made a claim that he hasn't backed up. And I've never held him to it. The fight game's fun. Do what you want and say what you want. I'm going to hold him to this one because I want it. I think it's awesome. The question is, do I really think he's going to do it?